Yeah, talking about the Power Rangers movie, and well, Billy dies. Yeah, not who I thought was going to die. I was heart sent that Zach was going to die because of how little we saw him in the trailers, but Billy freaking dies, and I was really wondering, like, how the heck are they gonna do this? Because, like, if a ranger dies, like they have to bring him back in, like bring somebody else in or something. But no, they actually did it in a good way. I really like the way they did it because I don't know how else they could have done it. But yeah, I'll get to that later on because explaining it now would kind of not make sense. But yeah, Billy died. uh, Look, don't take offense to this joke, okay? But of course they have to kill the black guy. Okay, I'm sorry, but like, I'm sorry, but that's just they should have killed off Ludi Lin. I think because like I felt like we saw like so little of him, and like it kind of. I mean, well, I will say this: killing off Billy makes it more emotional because from what I'm hearing, like Billy is like the heart and soul of the entire movie. So, yeah, so it's I don't know. It's just a movie cliche that that's why I thought they weren't going to kill off Billy because of that, but they did. But RJ Seiler will be coming back in the sequel. And I'll explain how that actually happens later on. But yeah, so basically, the movie starts off, and I can't wait to see this in person. But like, the movie starts off, and like it starts off like 10,000 years ago, where Zordon and Rita are rangers and stuff. And Rita's suit, you can see in the thumbnail, is freaking awesome. She's got her staff and everything. Zordon's the Red Ranger, and there's like other Rangers too, and it's freaking awesome. And then like Rita like betrays the team and everything. And I guess Zordon, again, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know every single detail. I just watched a spoiler review, but yeah, I guess Zordon traps her for 10,000 years, and like Zordon dies. And throughout the movie, Zordon's getting these new rangers so he can become a ranger again and come back to life. So maybe that's a little hint to how Billy is returning. Maybe Zordon doesn't come back to life. Maybe, I don't know. I totally didn't watch a spoiler review before watching the movie just so I can make a video. But I'm gonna talk about the characters. Jason, he's kind of like the football player. He is on house arrest for pretty much the whole movie, which some parts don't really make sense. I'm hearing because like he's a Power Ranger. Billy takes off his like bracelet, his foot bracelet, and everything. But like, how come his parents aren't wondering where he's at? Because he's supposed to be on house arrest. What, he just like sleeping the whole time? So yeah, that's kind of something that's not really explained too well. And first of all, what the heck, Power Rangers movie? Like, seriously? Like, okay, so there's a scene in the trailer where Jason and Kimberly are kissing, and well, it just never happened. It never happened in the movie. Um, and it's kind of like, you know, why have that in the trailer if you're not gonna have that in the movie? Like, people were going crazy about it. Like, people go like, "Oh my god, Jason and Kimberly are gonna, um, uh, be in a relationship," But then like it never happens. It's just kind of like, well, what the hell? Like, I was actually kind of looking forward to that, and yeah. So somebody in the comments right now is saying they needed more action. Yeah, it's kind of like an origin story. So it has kind of. It's gonna happen, right? Whenever they do the sequel, it's gonna have a lot more action, I promise. But all the action is just kind of in the third act, and they're because they're setting up the characters, right? But from Black Nerd Comedy's review, he's saying like it kind of needed some more action, maybe in the middle with them like testing out their powers, but then they get taken away because they don't know how to do teamwork. And so yeah, maybe that could have been something they could have done, but I didn't decide to do that. I think it would have made the movie flow better. Um, and yeah, somebody in the comments is saying, yeah, they cut the kissing scene. That's kind of what I was trying to get to. I just I just never got around to it. I just started talking about the the lack of fight scenes. Because most of the fight scenes is just at the end of the movie. But yeah, they did cut the kissing scene from the movie. That is correct. And oh yeah, the cameos. I forgot to put that in my notes for some reason. But yeah, Jason and Kimberly well, the Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson show up in the movie. Thank God they don't actually play as Tommy and Kimberly from an alternate universe. Thank God, because oh my God, if they did that, basically they're just like on their phones watching the Megazord battle, and that's what I said in my last video, in my one of my later videos. Like, thank God that's what they did, because if they tried to do this like Spock Prime thing from Star Trek, it just wouldn't have worked. They're trying to set up this new universe, and it just wouldn't have worked. So I'm so glad they did these cameos the right way. They were taking pictures. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so I'm so glad that's how they did the cameo, because if they did it any other way, I felt like it just would have gone too far, and that's really what needed to have happened. So yeah, back to what I was talking about before. Whenever I got sidetracked, Jason, he's kind of the jock. He's kind of like sort of a bad boy. That's more of Zach, but yeah, he kind of doesn't really trust Zordon that much. He's just like, you're just trying to get us to bring him back to life or something. And so yeah, and at one point his dad almost dies. Yeah, he barely saves his dad, which is some good character development. Yeah, it's kind of like the Day of the Dumpster movie version. If you guys don't know what I'm talking, I'm reading comments right now, but somebody in the comments is saying that it's kind of like the Day of the Dumpster movie version, and that's kind of true, because Goldar, they pretty much fight Goldar in the Megazord, which is pretty much what happens in the first episode. So yeah, it's kind of just like a 2-hour long version of the first episode, which is good, because the first episode is pretty much in the original show. I don't know, you're in the juice bar, they sort of meet each other, and they get transported into the command center, and Zordon's like, oh, by the way, your Power Rangers, see ya. and then they get attacked by putties, they use their powers, they hop in the Megazord, fight Goldar, the end. So like that's pretty much how the first episode of the show went, but in this movie they actually take time to develop some characters and stuff like that. So yeah, back to Jason again, because I keep getting sidetracked. But yeah, Jason, he's sort of the leader. I don't really know if there's like a designated leader in this movie, but he does say it's Morphin time. He did in the trailer, so I mean that's not really a surprise. But some things in the trailer didn't show up in the movie, so it's whatever. So I'm gonna move on to a different character now, because like I keep getting sidetracked with this one. So Zach, right? He's kind of like the lone wolf, right? That's how Ludi Lin keeps describing him. And did you know Ludi Lin's like 29 years old? Like, Jesus Christ, I had no idea he was that old. Like he looks so young. He looks like he literally looks like he's like literally 20 years old. Like, dang, that guy, he looks young, man. Like, and I think he's older than David Yost was whenever he originally played Billy. Like David Yost was the oldest one in the original show, and he was like 25 whenever the first episode aired. So like, dang, like 29 years old. I mean, he looks like a high schooler, don't get me wrong, but I had no idea he was 29 years old. But yeah, Zach, he's kind of like the bad boy, and people are comparing this to Breakfast Club, and I completely agree. Like, all these characters are like Breakfast Club. So like Jason is like the jock. I can't remember their names right now. I'm sorry. It's but Jason's the jock. Zach's the stoner, even though he doesn't do drugs. And then he's like the stoner character. He's like the bad boy, is what I'm trying to say. Kimberly's the prep. Billy is the nerd, believe it or not, and Trini is kind of like the quiet one, the outsider. Spoiler alert, they all die. Yeah, they did get hit by a train, I guess. I didn't really understand that part. But yeah. So yeah, again, if you hear me say random crap, I'm reading from the comments, because if you're watching the video, well, I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. I haven't seen the movie, so this guy's talking to me in the live comments right now, telling me some other stuff. So yeah, they get hit by a train. It's like, all right, but Zach and Jason. Oh yeah, car crash. All right. Well, how did? Okay, excuse me. I'm gonna ask this guy in the comments a question. How do they come back to life? Because I don't know. But basically Zach and Jason get into like a fist fight, and like Billy's the one that kind of break it up, and it's kind of like all right, it's some character development for the three of them. I like it, it's kind of more okay, so the power coins bring them back to life. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of more of like a, I don't know, like just some character development for Zach and Jason, and Billy breaking them up. Kimberly, she's kind of like the preppy girl. She's getting bullied by these two boys who I guess are supposed to be the new female Bulk and Skull. I don't know, but yeah, there's not really too much to say about her. Like they're obviously trying to make a relationship with Jason and Kimberly, but I mean, that kissing scene probably would have helped, but I got cut. So yeah, there's not really too much to talk about Kimberly right now, because I haven't seen the movie, and she didn't really do anything too important. Trini, Trini's kind of like the one trying to figure out herself. She's gay, so she's just kind of try and find out who she is, because she just doesn't know who she is right now, and that's what she's trying to figure out. And I really like that. I had a completely separate video about this. If you want to really hear me get in depth about it, but I really like what they did with Trini. I feel like Trini is like Trini, either Trini or Zach is the most different between their original counterparts, and that's a good thing. I like what they're doing with the characters. And who have I not talked about? Oh yeah, everybody's favorite, Billy. Billy, from what I'm hearing, is the heart and soul of the movie. And I'm not really surprised. RJ Kyler is freaking awesome. I love him. He is so funny. But Billy, he dies, and but basically, instead of Zordon bringing himself back to life, he decides to, from what I understand, now I could be wrong, but from what I understand, Zordon chooses to bring Billy back to life instead of himself. Zordon's basically sacrificing himself so Billy can come back to life. That's what I got from that. Yeah, Billy, he's the nerd, obviously, and he's the one. He basically like almost cusses, but like doesn't. Like Jason, I think is the one who cusses the most. Like apparently he okay, thank you, Mondris. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but he basically is the nerd and stuff like that. Jason is the one who cusses the most. He almost says like I don't want to actually say this on the podcast because it's like a kid's podcast, but he almost says mother effer, right? If this wasn't a kid's podcast, like I would have just said it, but like in case kids are watching it, I don't want to actually say the actual word. But yeah, so they're making it darker. It's PG-13. It's just kind of how it goes. What else? What else is there to talk about? The original Rangers showed up there at the red carpet. That was really cool. I think all the original cast members except for Trini. May she rest in peace. Yeah, it's sad that she couldn't be here to see this because I don't know, everybody else was there and it's just sad, you know. But yeah, even you saw Austin St. John and Jason David Frank standing side by side, and if you don't really know, those two don't really actually get along very well behind the scenes. So like whenever I saw that picture of them like next to each other, I'm like, oh my god, like they probably like actually had a conversation. Like, oh my, it was just really cool to see them next to each other because it's been since like Wild Force since you've seen them next to each other, and they don't really get along. So you know, well, at least as far as I know, they don't really get along. I mean, I knew in the past they haven't gotten along, so I don't know what their relationship is like now. But it was just really cool to see them next to each other, and I guess now I will talk about the after credit scene. So basically, they're in detention, right? And the teacher calls out Tommy Oliver, and it just moves over to a desk, and you just see a green shirt on the desk. And I really like that. I think that was a nice touch. Who would I want to play as Tommy? What was his name? God dang it! Why did I forget his name? He was campaigning to play as Jason. Why did I'm such an idiot. But it's Robbie Amell. Robbie Amell's Stephen Amell's cousin. Robbie Amell was basically campaigning to play as Jason, but he didn't get the part, and I think he would be good for Tommy. I think I really like to see Robbie Amell play as Tommy. I think that'd be really neat to see, and I think it'd just be a good thing for the sequel and for more to come. Now, I was getting ready to talk about the sequel, but somebody in the live chat reminded me that I forgot to talk about the Zords. So yeah, oops, forgot to talk about the Zords. But the Zords I really like. The individual Zords I really like the color on them. I think they did a really good job modernizing them. I mean, so yeah, that's really I really like the new Zords. But sorry, I guess I'm just stuck in my throat again. I'm still a little sick. But the Megazord, however, not the biggest fan of. It's just too gray. It needs more color, you know. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. It really needed more color. So yeah, that's pretty much what I thought about the Megazord. Goldar, maybe they could give more Goldar. They could give Goldar more of a character in the sequel, but he just didn't talk like at all in this movie, and you know, it's just kind of like, come on, man. Like, so hopefully, you know, Goldar gets more development in the sequel. But yeah, I just cannot honestly say I like Goldar in this movie. It's just yeah, it's just kind of like but yeah, sequel talk. Essay asks when am I gonna get ungrounded? Technically I am, but it's technically I'm not. It's confusing. But yeah, just a little life update in the middle of my Power Ranger spoiler talk. Anyway, oh yeah, okay. I can't talk about the sequel yet. Again, oh my god, I have to talk about this. Somebody in the comments said I love the Krispy Kreme donuts. Oh my gosh, yes. The Krispy Kreme donuts is the new Ernie's. Oh my gosh, yes. Mondris, I love. Oh, Mondris Williams just put in the chat Krispy Kreme donuts, and I just automatically started laughing. Oh man. But the sequel. I feel like what they should do for the sequel. I was watching somebody else's podcast and they had this great idea. I wish I gotta figure out who they are. I gotta give them credit for this. I can't just say it without giving them credit. What was their name? Hyper RPG. They got a little like podcast type thing. And basically they were talking about this, and they thought Tommy should become a part of the team in the sequel, right? But then he like sort of betrays them, right? Kind of like how in the actual show, but he doesn't actually redeem himself until the third movie. So I think that'd be really neat. Like at the end of the movie, you see the whole team get betrayed by Tommy, and then like it just like, doesn't get resolved until the third movie. I think that'd just be so cool. Just like a nice little cliffhanger to leave it on. I think that'd be so neat if they did it that way. I don't know if they will do it that way because it's kind of like risky because people then go like, oh, what the heck, a cliffhanger? But then like, then it could set up the third movie really well. And, you know, I just really thought that was a really neat idea. And maybe Lord Zed. I don't know if Lord Zed should show up in the second one. People are saying, "Oh, I want Lord Zed to show up," but like Rita isn't really like dead, so it doesn't really make too much sense for Lord Zed to show up. I think maybe in the third movie Lord Zed could show up. But I don't really know. And the Zeo powers, the Zeo crystals, because this whole movie is about the Zeo crystals. But I don't know. Maybe they could use the Zeo powers and maybe like the last movie. Like the last movie is about them like getting this all new power, stronger than before. Maybe that's what it could be about. But I wouldn't expect to see the Zeo powers in like a long time. If we do see them at all, which I would love to see a Zeo movie. Like, oh my gosh, they should have done a Zeo movie in the 90s. Like, why the heck did they do a Turbo movie? It should have been a Zeo movie. Like, cause oh my gosh, I love Power Rangers Zeo so much. It's like, if In Space wasn't a thing, it would be my favorite Zoran era season. But In Space, it's everybody's favorite. So, but yeah, they so should do a Zeo movie. Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome. And I love the suits for Zeo too. It's oh my gosh, I love Zeo. But yeah, so that's pretty much my sequel talk, and I will do an actual review here whenever I do see the movie. But since I wanted to talk to you guys about this, I watched a spoiler review. I'm not really one that gets bothered by spoilers. So, yeah, the 1995 movie is still the best. I don't know about that. I think oh man. But yeah, that's pretty much my spoiler talk for the Power Rangers movie. Tell me what you guys thought about the Power Rangers movie down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think it was okay? Just let me know, and just we could just talk about the Power Rangers movie, So yeah, I can't wait to see a sequel here in the future.